Hey guys, this is a skier task guide for Silent Caliber. For this task, you have to eliminate 20 Scavs and 10 PMCs while using a suppressed 12 gauge shotgun. So you used to be able to do Silent Caliber and setup together and knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, but with patch 13 they did adjust the progression of this task to make Silent Caliber a prerequisite to set up instead. However, now with Silent Caliber alone, it's much less restrictive, and the fact that you can go to any map and wear any gear that you want, as well as use any 12 gauge shotgun that you want, as long as it has a suppressor equipped, is a huge bonus. So the best 3 options in my opinion, and the ones I'll be going over in this guide, are going to be the Saiga 12, the MP153, and the 155, but obviously feel free to use any shotgun that fires a 12 gauge shell that you want. Just because these are the 3 that I like doesn't mean that it will be the best or only option for you. The Saiga 12 will be the easiest to use due to being able to throw in a 10 round or even a 20 round power mag onto it and being able to mod it by far the most of the 3 options, but the more that you do mod it, the more expensive that the gun will end up being, especially if it is modded with all of the meta attachments. And with that, just a heads up that you can easily spend upwards of 200k in order to make this gun an absolute unit. Another thing to keep in mind is that with the power mag or even just the 10 round mag that takes up 3 spaces, it will greatly limit you on what rigs that you can potentially run, but this thing is probably the most fun to use out of the 3 guns that I'm going to show you. The MP153 is going to be the cheapest option for you, and to run it fully kitted you're looking at a little less than 100k, but you can also run it basically stock and just put a sight suppressor, laser, and 8 round magazine on it, and that won't make it any less effective, but it will make it good for the wallet. Only costs you around 60k depending on your trader levels. My biggest problem with this gun is that it has horrible ergo and it is extremely long, which makes it difficult to handle the gun sometimes, especially in close quarters fights, which is basically what most of your shotgun engagements will hopefully be. For an example, when you're fighting in dorms, this gun will end up getting caught on door frames, walls, and even on other players if they push out into you, or while you're trying to push into a room after them. Basically, the shotgun will end up folding into your PMC, pointing the barrel to your left, not allowing you to point fire, which can definitely get you killed. This shotgun also has much fewer options when modifying. You do have 2 options for suppressors, but just a heads up that if you do use the salvo suppressor and you want an 8 shell magazine, you have no choice but to use the MP133x8 magazine, because the 153x8 shell magazine is not compatible with the salvo. So if you want to use that specific shell magazine, you have no choice but to use the hexagon suppressor instead, so just be aware of that. And the last option, the one that I used the most, was the Ultima build for the MP155. It is a very good all-around build, and it will cost you about 130k to mod it, and it is a little bit shorter than the 153, so you can use it a little bit easier in dorms or in close quarters, and it still gives you an 8 shell magazine to work with. When the gun is modded in the full Ultima build, it does give you some bonuses to ergo that are much better than the 153, and you also have the options of adding front and rear sights that both give you a +1 to ergo for each one, as well as having the choice of which recoil pad to use to adjust it to your playstyle. And another tip that you can use on any shotgun that you may pick is that with the right attachments, you can actually use the trick with the Axion Cobra sight and the shade with it that gives you a random +1 to ergo for having a reflex sight, where in any other instance a scope or sight will negatively impact your ergo. So you can put that towards any shotgun build as long as you put on the right attachments. As with any gun in Tarkov, the ammo is king and even more so important than the build, so what I typically recommend is Flechette, just because of its versatility in that you can either take down heavily geared players by absolutely destroying their armor in basically 2 shots, or you can just focus on flesh damage and aim at their leg. Now if you can't get your hands on Flechette, or you don't want to pay the crazy price for it on the flea until you can get it unlocked by completing a task for Jaeger and unlocking him at level 3, or if you do prefer to aim center mass on your target and use slugs, then AP20 is going to be your best bet, since it will pen armor and do heavy damage to juiced up players. However, the big problem with AP20 is that it's not available on the flea anymore at all, and you can really only find it in raid or crafted at workbench level 3. Now, if you're not a fan of either of these options for whatever reason, then I do have a couple more options that are still effective but easier to get your hands on and definitely more cost efficient for you. However, with these benefits, one negative is that you do have to be more precise and either aim for the legs or arms, unless on the rare occasion that they're not wearing any armor, and then you can basically fire away. But these shells will shine when hitting non-armored parts of the body and fail really badly if you happen to shoot armor, since their pen is not good whatsoever. The goal is basically to cause bleeds and to deal massive flesh damage, so basically aim low. The multi-pellet shell that I would recommend for you for this is Magnum Buckshot, and then for slugs you do have a couple different options. The first being Rip shells, and then you also have the Copper Sabot or the Grizzly or even the BMG slugs as well. All of these deal a significant amount of damage. As long as you have the ability to shoot the legs of your opponent routinely, then you will have good success with any of these. For this task, the absolute quickest way to get your 10 PMC kills is going to be on Factory due to it being a PvP focused map. Even though there is only a max of 5 other PMCs besides yourself here, you won't end up wasting a lot of time running around looking for people and then potentially dying to a bush. You typically run into somebody within 1 minute of the raid, then you're either going to win that fight and move on, or you will be getting sent back to the lobby. I was essentially going into Factory with the shotgun fairly well kitted or sometimes double wide trailer juiced up to increase my chances of a good outcome. And if you're going to run a face shield on any map, I would definitely recommend Factory being that map, because you will run into hatchlings trying to come here to get the 3 pistol kills for stirrup, and you don't want to get taken down by a lucky aim punch head eyes, by PSO ammo, or even a buckshot scav from 50 meters away when you're super juiced up. In the event that you're not comfortable on Factory, or you don't want to rush the PMC kills and you don't really care about that and you just want to chip away at the task, then absolutely go for any map that you're comfortable on and just play to the strengths of a shotgun while gaming. You want to end up trying to get closer to your enemies before you engage. You want to use your nades to reposition and push, and basically try not to stay out in the open for too long as you're crossing the map. Or if you do end up having to be out in the open, then a good move is to painkiller before so, because a shotgun is definitely not ideal to fight back against somebody who's at a distance if you start getting lit up while crossing at a choke point. As for the scav kills, basically Factory isn't the best map for that, but you can definitely make some good progress towards it. And the goal is just to see how many scav kills that you end up having left by the time that you get your 10th PMC kill, and then you can go to any other map that you want to finish off that part of the task while working on another task. So essentially finishing off this one and then getting 2 birds with 1 stone. And it's even better if you have to kill scavs on another map anyway. So that's what I would look at essentially, is once the 10 PMC kills are done, look and see what other tasks that you have left and then combine this task with another one. So hopefully you guys found this guide useful and it did help you to complete this task with little to no headaches. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is just a couple of my different social links in case you guys wanted to connect more easily. I am primarily streaming on Twitch now multiple nights a week. So if you do want to connect with me or my community, that would probably be the easiest way to do so. And if you do come over to the Twitch and you want to join the Discord community, then just type !Discord or cord in the chat in order to get an invite link. And if you don't use Twitch, then I do have a link in the picture as well as a link below in the description. And we are growing and currently have an active and welcoming community with people of all experience and skill levels, so there will always be someone who could help to answer any questions that you may have. As always, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching the video, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.